Hi guys, welcome back with another video. Now, the Destiny Helpers video actually did good, better than I thought it would. I have never realized how much people likes learning about Destiny Helpers. And I honestly never heard really too much sermons on Destiny Helpers either, until a few of the people that I watch has mentioned Destiny Helpers. And I thought maybe it was just a false prophet type of teaching. But until I realized that it is actually relevant, and it's actually not false, and it's actually, there are teachers and coaches and prophets who God brings into our lives to help us on our journey, to help us, being guided by, is actually real. It is not a false prophet teaching made from the stars type of thing. This is real. So I felt like I did a disservice to my number one destiny helper. I wouldn't call him my number one destiny helper, because I believe my dad actually helped me also. But I felt like I did not mention him being my destiny helper. I felt like I did a disservice to him, and it's my pastor. And honestly, God used him in my life, and he's one of the people that I will say made me the woman that I am today. Made me the woman who have the courage enough to talk and record myself talking to you guys on YouTube. Even if most of my words are not clear or coming out as much as I would like for them to come out as, he actually gave me the courage. He's the only teacher in my life, pastor in my life, who actually trained me. I actually did a whole sermon because of his help. So guys, this is real. This is not false. This is not a mistake, misguided. This is real. God will bring you teachers. He will bring you his man of God and his woman of God in your life to help guide you on your assignment, guide you where God needs you to be, to start. And it's so amazing. And I wish I can record the ceremonies. I wish I can record the sermon that I did with his guidance. And, and I never recorded it. It was amazing. But I will say YouTube, I'm not going to underestimate the power of YouTube, because YouTube gives me the platform in which I can continue to use my gift, even if I'm no longer in the same state as my pastor, or even if I'm no longer in the church. Because of YouTube, I'm able to still use my gifts and my messages that God needs me to make. So I'm just so grateful. But yes, destiny helpers will come when you ask. You just have to literally ask God for them. I remember I was listening to a Joshua Selman sermon. It's a man of God who resides in Nigeria, I believe. I was listening to his sermons. I hope you guys can hear me, because this is it's kind of quieter when I closed it. But I was listening to that man of God's sermons, and I remember him talking about destiny helpers. And this is how ignorant I was. I'm not going to call myself ignorant, but I was just naive. It was so funny. I'm over here, because I'm listening to this sermon, I'm over here asking God for my destiny helper, and he's already in my life. So, ladies, your destiny helper may be in your life already without you knowing, without you not knowing. Your destiny helper may be in your life already without you knowing. How? It can be your teacher, it can be your prophet, it can be your man of God, your pastor, it can be your mom, it can be your dad. They don't necessarily have to hold this major fancy title. It's about their position in your life and how they help you do what God needs you to do. And I'm sorry, y'all, that my phone is shaking a lot. I'm heading to the gym, so I'm doing another video on talk with me as I head to the gym. But anyways, yeah, and it's a little cloudy outside. But yeah, they're already in your life, and you think that they're not. They are. If they're helping you, they're coaching you, they're leading you, they're giving you counsel, they're giving you advice on how to pray. It can be little things like how to fast correctly. Anything of that matter, that, dear, is your destiny helper. So how I came to meeting my pastor is the fact that I was on a 21-day fast. And I'm over here eating nothing but raw foods and vegetables. And I feel like that was one of the most spiritual moments in my life, because I felt closer to God, and I felt so like organic. I felt like the outside noise was silenced, if that makes sense. While doing my Daniel 21-day fast, I went and traveled to North Carolina. Meanwhile, I'm staying in Florida. I'm traveling to North Carolina and literally camping by myself. But instead of bringing an entire tent, I just did it in my car. But I did rent out a campground where I was able to do firewoods if I wanted to. I was able to lift up. I had a Jeep, so I was able to open up my car. And I was by myself, guys, because I had the experience of doing this in the previous relationships. I was able to do this by myself, and I needed that moment by myself. I felt like I had a lot of moments by myself before I got married. So anyways, I was doing this by myself, and I was on my 21-day fast, and I did a lot of research on the Daniel 21-day fast, so that's what I was doing. And I did it until completion. When I went back home, because after that fast, I went back home. Literally, I went back into my apartment, who I was sharing with my roommates. Soon as I went back, not even a week, my life changed completely. Financial wise, spiritually, everything changed. It's like God redirected me, if that makes sense. So I found my new church. At first, before I found this church, I heard God telling me to feed the homeless. So I started feeding the homeless. I made food. I'm not that best of a cook, but I did all that I can do. I made some rice, corn, and chicken breast, and I put it in a plate, and I put it in different bowls. And I went to the downtown of Florida, and I passed out some homeless food. But it's so funny because at that time, and this story actually leads me to another destiny helper. It is so amazing. And I completely forgot about her. And she was like my Naomi in the Ruth season. She actually helped me and guide me on my path also. But I'm going to do a separate video for her. So where was I? So at that day that I was passing out the food, I could not find I could not find homeless people. I had like 8 bowls, 9, 10 bowls with me, and I only passed out about 5. It was so hard to find homeless people that day. I went to the downtown area, everything, and I could not find them. So something in my spirit, the Holy Spirit told me to search, to go on into the internet and search out different shelters, so that maybe I can give them the food. So as I was looking at the different shelters, I came up to one ministry, and she had a ministry, and she had a homeless shelter, and on top of that, she had a thrift store and a restaurant. Now this video is not about her, but I am going to again make a separate video about her. So I went to her ministry. Her ministry was, I believe, called Love Ministry, Valley of Love Ministry. So if you guys reside in Florida and you guys know someone that's homeless and need a shelter to live, that is the Valley of Love Ministries. And I'm sure she will not mind me giving out her ministries, because I just heard her story on how she created. Hold on, I'm sorry guys. She told me her entire story about how she created Valley of Love Ministries, and it's just a nice shelter, and that's where people go if they seek food and shelter. So if you're watching this video and that may be you, Valley of Love Ministries, located in Fort Lauderdale, I believe, Florida, or it could be West Palm, but if you Google Valley of Love, you will see it. Now, and it is not sponsored by them, by the way. This is just my testimony. But anyways, so I went to her ministry. And she, at the time where I was located, her shelter, her homeless shelter that she created was too far from me. So she told me to meet her at the thrift store. And I was just on faith, guys. This was all faith. I was, I didn't have a job. I quit my job. I was just so unhappy where I was in life that I just quit everything. And that's when I did my Daniel 21-day fast. And I came back and God had turned my life around. But anyways, I went to her shelter and I went to the thrift store and I gave her the food. Now, I don't know if she gave it out, but the fact is that I met her. That changed my life completely. So that's how I met her. Now, how did I meet my pastor? It's because a position at her restaurant opened. I never worked at a restaurant where I knew the owner personally, but that was honestly, it was a good feeling. It was definitely a good feeling. So I was working, a position opened, right? There was a lady who was, who was working there, but she quit. So there was a position that opened and they asked me to. And I said, sure. So I helped them out at the restaurant. And I was working one day at the restaurant. And all of a sudden, this girl, she looked lost. So I'm looking at her and she comes in. And she looked lost. So I'm looking at her. And then, because she's just standing outside. And I could see that, she may need help. So I went to her. And when I went to her, that's how she introduced herself. She was a loving and caring woman. She just has the most beautiful auras until this day. So I went to her and I asked her name. We introduced ourselves and she invited me to her church, the church that she goes to. I said, sure, because at the time I wasn't really involved in a church. But honestly, I felt content though, because when I was working with this woman of God, she was always she was the one that helped guide me through fasting, guide me through prayer, and she was involved in the 7-day Adventist. So anything that she would do, I would follow. So then anyway, I didn't know anything about church, and I still was fasting because 7-day Adventists have the Sabbath. They have their whole Sabbath on the Saturday where they don't eat nothing. They just actually, I'm sorry, I erased that. They actually do eat. I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. But anyways, so that's what I would do. Saturdays I would not work and I would just be in prayer and worship and fellowship with God. But anyways, I went to that church. That day that the young lady, she invited me to her church, it was raining. I could have made any excuse not to go. But I have faith again to go. I just wanted to go. I felt like it was a curiosity. I don't know, but I just went. I went, and that's the day that another pastor was preaching that day. He was not preaching, but I still went to the church. And then the senior pastor, he introduced himself and stuff like that. And ever since then, I've been in that church. And going to his church again has changed my life. He trains me, guides me. I've never been closer to God. I can say that I never been closer to God if it was not for this man of God. I have not. Oh my God. Guys, I don't know what's going on. It's more traffic than usual. But they would have service Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I have never been to a church who had that much services in my life. Church service Wednesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and Sundays. So that's already 4 days a week that we had to go. So imagine how much of fellowship that you have, not only with your sisters and your brothers at the congregation, but also fellowshipping with God, praying. So I learned a lot about fasting. I learned a lot about, he was delivering me a lot. Like I would say, I never knew I had so much inside of me that was blocking me. I did not know that, because when he would deliver me, it was always like levels to it. It's like when someone delivers you, they can deliver you out of one thing, and then it's like levels to it, to the point that when they're delivering you, you become more bolder, you become wiser, you become like you're just moving differently than you never done. You have this courage to do things that you never done. It was just this boldness that I kept receiving each deliverance. Not saying that I had needed so much, but it wasn't only deliverance. It could have been adding on to my life also. Like if I was asking God for wisdom, the man of God will lay hands on me while we're fellowshipping or worshiping. He will lay hands on me to the point that I'm receiving that wisdom that I asked for. So I thank God I made that clear. So it's like not only was it deliverance, but he was adding things into my life that I was asking God for. If I was asking God for discernment, I would receive it. You're asking God for any gift of prophecy, you would receive it. And if anything that he would see in the spirit that, oh, your eyes are blocked, he will put his hand on you and pray over you or anoint you or whatever that may be. And then boom, next thing you know, that same night you're seeing in the spiritual realm. So it's amazing, and I'm just kind of brokenhearted because of so much bad experiences that the church, these false prophets, are making in the congregation. These false prophets, these riches and all this kingdom of darkness stuff, they make it hard for people who wants to seek God genuinely out from their hearts. They make it hard for people to want to go inside a church, to want to step inside of churches because of them, because of so many false prophets are being exposed. Some most of them are not even exposed yet, and that's how crazy it has become. So if you are looking for a church, make sure you go into prayer first and you ask God to help guide you. Because before I met the man of God, I did ask God for a church home. I did ask God, to just bring me closer to him. And I asked God for a church home. And that's when I met the woman of God and I met the man of God. Sorry, guys, I hit a bump on the road. So I'm just so glad we got out of that traffic. So anytime in one of my videos, if you guys hear me talking about Bible study or this and that, it is him. So it is, he's doing virtual Bible study, and I'm so thankful for that because I can still join that while I'm in Georgia. But unfortunately, because of class and school, I can't really join as much as I want. But ladies, when God brings you your destiny helper, whether they be in your life already or not, you will be closer to your destiny than you ever became. You will know more about God. You will be motivated to read your word more. You'll be motivated to seek after God, to worship him. And then you'll fall in love with God. And that is because, number one, that's because of God. But that is because God brought you that destiny helper in your life. Now, a destiny helper is not a person that has a Jezebel spirit. That is not a person that is trying to lead you away from God. It is not a person who's leading you away from the word of God, who's leading you away from church, who's leading you away from Christ. That is not a person that is of God. That is not a person who is helping you on your destiny. That is a destiny killer. So I did not know there was a term for it until I heard another teacher claiming it to be a destiny killer. So you always have to pray about everything. Anybody that's new in your life, pray about them. You have to have spiritual discernment. They can be a destiny helper or a destiny killer. And you really want to know the difference before it's too late. Okay, guys, I'm almost at the gym, and that's all I have to say for now. But I do pray that you guys enjoy this video. And this is going to be the second part of the series of how God will bring your destiny helpers in your life. And that is for now. That is all for now. I'll see you guys in the next one.